The movie begins with a glimpse into the past. In ancient China, a ruler known as the Dragon Emperor mercilessly destroyed all the kingdoms in the land, utilizing his prisoners as a component of the Great Wall of China. Despite his power and glory, he desired to be everlasting, so he dispatched his general, Ming, to seek a witch who was said to have the secret to immortality. On the other hand, Ming fell in love with the witch Zi Yuan. When the emperor discovered their passion, he executed Ming and stabbed Zi. The emperor began to feel sand flowing out of his eyes as Zi fought in pain. Cursed by Zi, the emperor and his army turned to stone, remaining that way for millennia. In 1946 Oxfordshire, England, father and husband Rick O'Connell go fishing. Sadly, his experience goes south after many mistakes, and he resorts to using a rifle out of annoyance. He proudly gives his capture to his butler, Jameson, upon entering his mansion. O'Connell discovers his military uniform in the corner of the room while returning his fishing gear. For a brief period, he recalls his days as a world traveler, craving the rush of adrenaline. Evelyn, O'Connell's wife, is in town finishing the book reading for her series, The Mummy. Evelyn is taken off guard during the Q&A when one of the women wonders if her current life is still as thrilling as it was during the war. She responds gently, wishing her life was still fascinating. Later that evening, the two retire to their home for dinner. After some light discussion, Evelyn expresses her concern about their kid, Alex. She said she had sent him 3 letters and received no responses. O'Connell tenses in disappointment and reveals that their son only asks them for money, particularly when he skips school. He implies that Alex doesn't bother to create a relationship with them. Despite convincing his parents that he is at college, Alex works at an archaeological site in China's Ningxia area. While convincing his parents that he was in college, Alex resumed his archaeological search for the Dragon Emperor's famous tomb in China's Ningxia province. He goes out to meet one of his closest friends, Professor Roger Wilson, who is approaching. Wilson encourages Alex to continue his hunt for the tomb as the two catch up. Coincidentally, some of the Chinese employees come across a gate while digging. Alex's squad navigates through the rubble and inspects the interior after blowing up the entrance. They are almost killed after setting off the first booby trap. Moving cautiously deeper inside the palace, they come across a dead body and set off yet another booby trap, allowing pieces of the ceiling to collapse. This illuminates the entire castle, showing hundreds of thousands of stone soldiers, the emperor's massive army. Alex and his crew are taken aback by the military. However, one inadvertently enters another booby trap, killing 3 of Alex's guys. Alex quickly panics but calms down with Wilson's help. As they press on, they encounter a feng shui compass pointed in the wrong direction. When the duo sets the focus right, the floor immediately opens. Alex falls into the dark pit while Wilson hangs on to the edge. Alex rises from the fall, slightly bewildered, and surveys the room he landed into. He discovers piles of skulls and bones all over the place. As Alex proceeds to shine his flashlight throughout the area, it rests on a statue in the center of the room, the Dragon Emperor in stone. He tells Wilson about his discovery, and he is overjoyed. After receiving nothing but silence from Wilson above, an assassin comes out of nowhere, thrusting at Alex. Alex is pinned against a closing door after a sequence of dodges and hits. As he writhes his way out, the assassin's veil lifts, revealing a lady. He uses a nearby vase to block the stone from crushing his head. Wilson deftly dodges bullets and exits the area as the killer is shot. Back in Oxfordshire, Benjamin Fry, a British Foreign Office agent, meets with the O'Connells to propose one final assignment despite their retirement. He describes safely moving the Shangri-La to the Shanghai Museum in China. Despite their reservations, the pair uses Evelyn's brother, who lives in China, as a pretext to indulge in another journey. When they arrive in Shanghai, they meet Evelyn's brother, Jonathan Carnahan, in his nightclub. After a few moments, Alex burst out of the kitchen, the cook enraged. O'Connell comes to his aid, then recognizes the chef Mad Dog McGuire, with whom he previously served in Egypt. They immediately become friends, easing the stress. When O'Connell and his wife arrive to speak with their son, Alex becomes aloof. He informs his father angrily that he will not return to college and leaves the club. Evelyn, concerned, brings her husband to the rooftop to explain the situation. She observes that O'Connell should be more compassionate and patient rather than strict and imposing. The two vow to make more effort to repair their relationship with their kid. The next day, a general named Yang is told of O'Connell's possession of the Eye of Shangri-La and a paramilitary outpost in western China. To resurrect the Dragon Emperor, he tells his men about his goal to create China, a strong empire. During the evening, Alex shows his parents the Emperor's excavated statue. O'Connell is impressed and does his best to congratulate his son tenderly. Alex exits the room to find Wilson, but when he notices that he is being followed, he becomes suspicious. He follows a figure he detects lurking in the corridors. At the same time, Wilson visits the O'Connells and catches up with them like old pals. O'Connell proudly displays the Eye of Shangri-La and passes the valuable treasure to Wilson, confident that it is safe. Things take a turn for the worse when General Yang arrives. Wilson's attitude changes abruptly, and he pulls out a gun, aiming it toward the O'Connells. He explains that General Yang secretly funded Alex's dig to resurrect the Emperor. The O'Connells attempt to resist but are quickly stopped when Wilson threatens to shoot O'Connell. Meanwhile, Alex realizes the figure following him is the assassin he met in the tomb. As they watch the drama unfold from the second level, she introduces herself as Lin. They forcefully enforce the written instructions when Evelyn translates the inscription on the relic. The Eye of Shangri-La opens, revealing the sacred elixir required to resurrect the Emperor. Wilson is then given the order by General Yang to shoot O'Connell. Before Wilson can pull the gun, Alex and Lin arrive and save O'Connell. The O'Connells incapacitate their adversaries in a second, mistakenly pouring the elixir on the Emperor's statue. Lin stabs a figure in the heart, intending to kill the Emperor before he rises, but soon finds it a decoy. The Emperor's statue on the other side of the chamber begins to come to life. The O'Connells fire rounds at the stoned Emperor, but they have no impact. Not long after that, his stone horses begin to breathe and neigh. Lin and Alex grab hold of the bottom of the chariot before it successfully exits the building. The O'Connells and Carnahan pursue them in a firework truck as it rushes through the streets of Shanghai. O'Connell fires one of the rockets directly at the Emperor. Unfortunately, the Emperor avoids it and directs it onto a tram, resulting in an explosion. As Evelyn maneuvers the truck closer to the Emperor, O'Connell takes advantage of the opportunity to mount one of the century-old horses. He cuts its bonds and rides it, inviting his son to join him from the back. Alex continues to refuse his father's assistance. To make matters worse, the Emperor fires the fireworks in Evelyn's truck while O'Connell's horse becomes increasingly uncontrolled. Lin and Alex attempt to stab the Emperor, but General Yang mistakenly shoots Lin, hiding within the chariot. Alex slips from the chariot before he can help her, barely clinging to the rear. Lin unexpectedly attempts to assist him, telling him the bullet missed her. Alex accepts her assistance with a smile. Yang, however, cuts Yang's relief short when he cuts the chariot off, causing the chariot to jump. Lin and Alex are thrown off balance in their seats when the Emperor turns the walkway into ice. They almost collide as they rush into a Chinese festival with O'Connell. Meanwhile, as Evelyn's truck's pyrotechnics continue to explode, Evelyn and her brother jump out, narrowly missing the explosion. As the Emperor flees, the squad seeks refuge at Carnahan's nightclub. Lin reveals herself as the Emperor's descendant to the personnel assigned to guard the Emperor's tomb. Despite her seriousness in locating the Emperor, Alex's parents are skeptical. Nonetheless, Lin says they must stop the Emperor by reaching the Shangri-La portal. She reveals to them a dagger they must use to assassinate the Emperor. Despite their reservations, they allow Lin to guide them to the gateway. They take a stormy flight to the Himalayas in Maguire's chopper. The squad makes their way up the mountain after nearly falling off a cliff. When Maguire informs them that General Yang has arrived on the hill, O'Connell's unit makes camp for the night. As the crew settles in, Evelyn learns more about her son and his possible love interest in Lin. Alex enters their makeshift tent and confronts Lin, denying his mother's fears. He clearly states that he has no affection for her. Although Lin returns the favor and claims she has no feelings for him, a silent attraction develops between them. They arrive at the gateway, a temple with a golden tower in the center, the following day. Soon as Yang's troops take their positions across the temple, they open fire. Both sides trade gunfire until the Chinese use a bazooka, causing damage to the temple. As the infrastructure deteriorates, O'Connell and his colleagues retreat into the temple. Carnahan attempts to light the explosive strapped around the golden tower as the struggle progresses to prevent the Emperor from unlocking the full power of eternal life. He is quickly caught in the crossfire and escapes, dropping the lighter in the snow and failing to light the wick. O'Connell and Evelyn notice Lin crying in a foreign tongue outside the temple as the Chinese soldiers proceed to take control. 3 enormous Yetis materialize out of nowhere and rush to their help. Carnahan finds his lighter and manages to light the wick to the explosives as the Yetis murder most troops alongside O'Connell and his team. The situation changes when the Emperor emerges and rises spikes from the earth. He utilizes his magic to halt the lit wick to the explosives while scaring away the Yetis. He begins climbing the golden tower and eventually lays the valuable Eye of Shangri-La on it. The item begins to shine a light, indicating the location of the pool of eternal life. As Alex prepares to fire a dynamite stick at the Emperor, he fails to notice the Emperor's sword hurtling toward him. O'Connell steps in and pushes his kid out of the way, unwittingly impaling himself. As a result, Alex throws the explosives off track, resulting in an avalanche. As the icy wave approaches, the Yetis rush to their help, shielding them from the impact. The squad regathers when everything in sight is covered with snowy boulders. When they see O'Connell on the verge of death, they rush to the pool of eternal life. When they explore the tunnel, they come across Zi Yuan, who appears to be Lin's mother. Alex realizes Lin and her mother are immortal. After providing hospitality to the adventurers and mending O'Connell, they have been protecting the Emperor's tomb for generations. She says she had begun living in Shangri-La after being saved by Yetis decades ago when the Emperor stabbed her. While O'Connell is resting, Alex admits his genuine love for Lin. Despite her feelings, Lin rejects him, claiming she does not want to end up like her mother. She bitterly states that she does not wish to mourn for centuries after his death, as her mother did for General Meng. Before they make a final decision, Carnahan informs them that O'Connell is awake. As Alex enters the room to welcome his fully recovered father, his distant demeanor disappears, and he begins to express his true love and care for his father. He admits that his behavior in recent years has been inappropriate and humbly says his love for his father. O'Connell, taken aback by his son's earnestness, humbles himself and admits to being a negligent father. As the two reconcile, Z acts as a parent, telling Lin that she will remove her weight of immortality to live a regular life with Alex. The joyous reunions, however, are cut short when the Emperor fireballs from the entryway, separating Lin and Z. As the ruthless overlord uses his powers to pin both women down, he snatches the magical knife, his single weakness. He transforms into a three-headed dragon after entering the pool of eternal life. When the O'Connells come out to observe the metamorphosis, the Emperor's scorching breath illuminates the cavern. Motivated by vengeance and hatred for Z, the Emperor kidnaps Lin and travels to Ningxia province with General Yang. Not long after that, O'Connell and his men use Maguire's chopper to pursue them. When the Emperor comes, he reverts to his human form and resurrects his army. He exudes authority as he prepares his army and Yang's warriors to retake the globe. O'Connell and his comrades hide behind boulders in the distance as Z races toward an underground tunnel to resurrect the Emperor's dead adversaries within the Great Wall. In exchange for the fallen people's assistance, she recites an incantation, which grants her and her daughter immortality. When the bones of the dead begin to breathe and run to the field, a conflict between the two sides breaks out quickly. At the same time, O'Connell discovers that his son has already begun to act. Alex, disguised, sneaks in between the Chinese soldiers and frees Lin, who had been imprisoned. The Emperor approaches Z, who is already on a tiny plateau, as the Battle of the Resurrected proceeds. Z is hurt when they are engaged in a long-awaited, fierce sword duel. When the Emperor yanks her sword from her grip and holds her at sword point, she finds the stolen special dagger in the Emperor's baldric. Then she quickly impales herself through the Emperor's sword, removing the blade silently. The Emperor, believing he has won, pulls out his sword, causing her to fall down the cliff. When the Emperor sees the flying reinforcements, he rapidly transforms into a giant beast and destroys one of the planes. When O'Connell and his squad reassemble, the Emperor begins his journey to the underground tube to fully revive his army. O'Connell and his group notice Z weakly crawling before they can chase him. Z dies in her daughter's arms as she hands the dagger to Lin. While Lin laments the murder of her now mortal mother, Alex and O'Connell seize the sword and pursue the Emperor. Alex intervenes just before the Emperor is ready to restore his army, leading the Emperor to shapeshift into a beast once more. O'Connell jumps in from behind and stabs the beast with the dagger as he throws Alex across the room. After failing to pierce the Emperor in the heart, O'Connell is nearly killed as the Emperor throws the sword at him. The dagger shatters against the wall, missing O'Connell. Meanwhile, Lin and Evelyn battle General Yang, who somehow escaped a bomb dropped by Carnahan. Yang dies, swallowed up in pride, as the duo teams up against him. The Emperor and O'Connell engage in a hand-to-hand battle at the same time. While they battle, Alex secretly takes one of the dagger's broken parts and lays a signal in the sand for his father. O'Connell recognizes the call after a series of punches and injuries and immediately takes the second broken piece of the dagger. O'Connell uses his music and jabs it into the Emperor's heart just as Alex leaps in from behind and stabs him. The Emperor's fleeting existence, like that of his army, ends instantly. The group returns to Shanghai after their once-in-a-lifetime excursion. The movie ends with O'Connell and his wife dancing while their kid dances with his beloved Lin. The two happy couples cuddle up in their lovers' arms as the night wears on. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.